All right. So again, happy Wednesday, Webinar Wednesday. We're going to start providing webinars every month, maybe even a couple every month. And so we have this one, and in 2 weeks we have another on best practices in implementing evidence-based programs, including PPW. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for all you do for youth and families in your communities throughout the country. I really appreciate it. And it's an honor to be working with you, the prevention and health providers that are making the difference in our country and our world. So, and whatever little impact we can have on you is a great honor. So today's topic, as you can see, is how to schedule implementing an evidence-based prevention program this fall. We're talking about right now, 2026. So we'll be presenting today to you, or I will be presenting a four-phase step-by-step guide for you to do this. And so the timing couldn't be more perfect. And so thanks for joining us. For those of you that have to leave earlier, or for those that aren't on here, I will be sharing for all of you that have registered the slides and the recording. So my name is Dr. Chudley Wirch. I'm CEO, founder at Prevention Plus Wellness LLC, located here, beautiful and historic St. Augustine. And so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, this is going to be a shorter webinar. In the past, we've had mostly 1 hour webinars. We're going to have a 2 hour training coming up on how to implement sport, but most of our webinars are an hour, and we're going to change that, I think, to 30 minutes, so it's a little bit more practical for everyone in their busy schedule. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Start it right now. We got three objectives for this webinar. The first is for you all to have a chance to examine best practices for scheduling drug prevention for the school year, and particularly this fall, right now, coming up. And I do realize many of you are already jumping into it. I think here in Florida, schools opened this week. I think teachers are in the office first for at least a few days or maybe this full week, and then kids come. And I know that's different depending on where you're at. I know up north, for example, in the Midwest, they don't start until after Labor Day. So, but we're talking about the same period. We're talking about late summer, early fall. And so it's a perfect time to talk about scheduling drug prevention with the school year. A second objective is to review this four-phase step-by-step guide that we created for you for scheduling and for implementing a drug prevention program. It could be any program, or it could be one of our one-session evidence-based prevention plus wellness programs this fall. And then lastly, apply this information to your scheduling for fall 2026 drug prevention. So take it back, take this information that we're going to discuss here briefly, and then how is this uh, applicable to your setting, and how can you use this information for your planning and scheduling a drug prevention for fall 2026. So let's go ahead and take a look at this four-phase model that we created. Phase number one is pre-semester planning. And I think this for the fall, it includes last month, July, which we just left, as well as August. This can be considered pre-semester planning, and of course, that's a little bit different depending on where you're at and when your school, system comes on board. So, but you know what I'm talking about, pre-semester before kids are in school. So, um, the key to a smooth fall rollout of drug prevention is this part here, is this logistics part, addressing logistics properly and in advance before the students arrive. So that's what this phase one is all about. So what does phase one include? Includes these four components. selecting the specific program that you're going to be using or programs, ordering your manuals or materials for your facilitators, your providers, your implementers. Complete your training. Usually, at least evidence-based programs will require some training for you as providers, as implementers, and then secure buy-in and location. In other words, buy-in from the decision makers to get into your school setting or whatever setting you'll be implementing your programs. And then, what is the specific location? So let's take each one of these just for a moment and talk a little bit more about them. By the way, we'll open it up for Q&A at the end of today's session. And so if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you want to share something that's going on in your setting this fall, 2026, then find that Q&A, click on it, open it up in your toolbar, and then drop that comment in, and we'll take those at the end of today's sharing of these PowerPoint slides. Okay. So number one, this is phase one we're talking about. This is the pre-semester planning, July and August. So one of the steps of these four components, I should say, includes selecting your specific program. So it could be a prevention plus wellness program. It could be some other evidence-based program. We would certainly recommend evidence-based over non-evidence-based, something that's theory-based, something that has some um, evaluation aspect to it. So you have a little bit of faith that this may be useful in your particular setting versus non-evidence based. So that's what I'm sort of highlighting, evidence theory based versus non. So and so the questions you might be asking are here on in this aspect, this component, selecting your specific program is there's a lot of things you can ask. I mean, there's costs and practicality. Is it 15 sessions? Is it 12 sessions? Is it a one session prevention plus wellness program? But you'll also be thinking about what age group are you going to target this semester? Is it going to be high school, middle school, elementary school, young adults? What's the age group? What's the topic? Did you want to address a specific substance use topic or health topics? For example, with prevention plus wellness programs, we have programs that address alcohol and marijuana and e-cigarettes and opioids, but they also all are whole health. So they all promote a healthy lifestyle behaviors, physical activity, sleep, breakfast and nutrition, and stress control, all within a single session. So depending on the topic you want, that's one of the factors. Age group of your target population. All these things are important, and many more things for you to ask yourself as to selecting the program, the evidence-based program that you're going to be implementing. Is it practical and these kinds of things. So where's the setting, for example? Is it going to be in an existing classroom, after school? Is it going to be within sports? Is it, and it could be multiple settings in and out of school. And so all of these things I think are important to ask yourself and funding availability, lots and lots of things. And I'm sure I'm missing some questions. So you may have some that you want to share with others that you use when you select your specific program for implementation, including this fall. Secondly, once you've done that, you want to order your program materials, your manuals, for prevention plus wellness. Our programs are manualized, they're manual driven. So you buy a manual, it's either physical or digital. And within the manual, you have the scripts to implement your program in a group setting, in a classroom setting, or individually one-on-one, including as an expert. So you have great flexibility with our programs. But no matter what program you use, evidence-based program, you want to order your manuals, your materials for your facilitators, your teachers. This could be any number of people you're buying your manuals. So it could be nurses, could be counselors, could be teachers, could be coaches. It could be youth, providing it as a leadership experience, providing it to their peers. That's where I think the beauty of a one-session program like Prevention Plus Wellness is much more practical, because kids can implement a one-session program in a realistic way rather than much more so than an extended or extensive or complicated prevention program. So ordering your materials, that's a component. Number three, this is all, remember, pre-phase, July, August. So phase one, um, complete your training. So if it's evidence-based, you're going to have training. Sometimes this training can be lengthy, as you know. It could be a day, it can be a week. With our programs, because they're manualized, because it's scripted, because they're brief, our training is usually only an hour or two, and you can take it. Most popularly, it's self-paced online on-demand training for our program implementers. So you get yourself trained, so you're certified, ready to implement, and that comes before you start implementation, of course. And then, of course, don't forget number four, buy-in and location. What is the location? Where are you going to present this? Is it in a counseling setting? Is it in a health education, a PE? Is it in sports? Is it after school? Is it in multiple settings? Is it to all youth, this universal prevention intervention? Is it as Andor, again, so Andor, it could be multiple settings. Is it for kids caught, in a breaking the substance use policy, and so they have to get education as a part of that in lieu of suspension. So all of these things are to be decided before implementation. And then buy-in, of course, very important. We hear from many schools across the country and abroad that, even with a single session program, Prevention Plus Wellness, it can be a challenge to get in, but it's easier to get in with a single session program than it is with a lengthier, more complicated program. So you got to get buy-in. By the way, related to buy-in, we'll be posting something on our website in the next few days. And if you don't get our emails, go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com, and drop in your email so you get our notifications. But we we have on our website, preventionpluswellness.com, resources, and under resources, there's a link to I think program resources, and then under that, we've got a program decision maker survey. It's a two-page survey, and it's a great tool for you, for prevention and health providers, to get buy-in from your schools or whatever your setting might be. And it's a great tool for that. So securing buy-ins, you might want to use our program decision maker survey. So check that out under resources on our website, preventionpluswellness.com. So this is all part of phase one, pre-semester planning, July, August. And now we're moving on to phase two. That's early semester setup. That's late this month, August and September. Generally speaking, these are just general. And of course, it could be a little different depending on your school schedule, wherever you're at. But it's during this first few weeks of school. Teachers are establishing their routines, and now's the time to prep and get ready for the students and the parents. That's this phase two, early semester setup, August and September usually. And here's four things to consider here. Determine the exact dates that you'll be implementing your prevention program. Two, obtaining parental consent. Three, preparing the tech that you might be using for your drug prevention. And four, copying or ordering any materials for your participants, your students. So let's take them one at a time. So determine exact dates. Of course, you want to work around busy dates, busy times. Like testing or coming close to holiday times, but you have to figure out which dates, and you want to have sort of a, a plan B and a plan C in case something pops up, a pep rally or whatever the case might be, a snow day, a hurricane day, whatever that can happen. So plan your dates. Now it's easier, once again, to set dates for a brief intervention like prevention plus wellness programs, which are only a single session, or brief programs. We have some that are 3 sessions and some that are 6, but a lot easier to set that up then and plan those exact dates than it is for again all semester, all year kinds of programming. But nonetheless, you have to determine your exact dates and times and location settings, that kind of thing within your school. Again, you want to obtain parental consent. That differs from school to school. What that requires for prevention, drug prevention programs and drug education programs, you might have active consent. You might have non-active consent. But we do have on our website, again, preventionpluswellness.com, under resources, we have I think, parental consent form as an example that might be helpful for you. So check out our resources on our website. Thirdly, you want to prepare any tech. So sometimes drug prevention requires tech, so you might need to do that. So for our programs, just to give you an example, our programs are PowerPoint driven, so you do need to go into that setting, whatever that is, that classroom or wherever you're providing to your one youth or your groups of youth or whatever the case is, and make sure you can show your slides. If you have our licenses, then you need to have Wi-Fi to pull up the digital program manual. So you want to check that out. We also have self-guided programs. So these are actually completed by the youth themselves. It could be done in the classroom or as an assignment or in school, out of school. But if you're doing it in school, you want to test that out, that tech, to make sure that works. So you want to test out your technology and make sure all that works before you start implementing. So I always like to tell people, and have over the years and decades actually, that it's good to pilot test it, try it on a few students, start slow, make sure it's working, work the bugs out, and then go full force at that point. Copy any material. So you might need to buy materials from your evidence-based program provider. One of the beautiful things about Prevention Plus Wellness single session program, or brief programs, but it's a single purchase. So everything is included in your manual and your download. So you just make copies. You don't have to buy anything else from us unless you want to. We have extra things, of course, like workbooks and all kinds of things, but you don't have to. You can just make copies of things. So it saves you a lot of funds if you use our programs, because you make copies of our student material, screening surveys, goal plans, calendar logs, etc. All those things you can make copies of rather than buy them from us. So that's phase two. That was phase two, early semester setup. Phase three, the big one, implementation, September through November, I would say into December. So this is the rubber hits the road phase. This is where you're implementing your evidence-based drug prevention program. September is very big. October is big too, because you have a National Substance Use Abuse Prevention Month. You have Red Ribbon Week. And by the way, a brief intervention like Prevention Plus Wellness programs, whether it be sport or vaping or marijuana or opioid PPW, all those programs are great and can be really up your game for Red Ribbon Week, rather than just handing out prevention, wristbands and T-shirts and that kind of thing. You can really actually implement an evidence-based program within Red Ribbon Week, because of our programs are brief. What does this implementation phase includes? It includes administering the pretest, delivering your lesson, your program, your lessons. Our programs include goal setting, so I've added that, and then administering a post test. So this is what we recommend. We definitely are all about database decision making. We think it's critical. We think it's important for prevention providers to see what they've accomplished with their students in their program, in their setting. And so we've, over the years, had different iterations of our programs, of our evaluation tools. And the most recent version, by the way, is this fall, we have a 6.0 survey, and we could send you customized links to the online pretest and post-test survey. You just have to, if you're implementing any of our programs, just request the surveys, and we'll send you the pretest, post-test, and follow-up post-test survey links, and you can use those. So for example, let me go through these steps with you. Number one, you want to administer your pretest. So for us, that means we'll send you the links or QR codes. All you do is you show that to your youth and on their devices, on their laptops, their tablets, their phones, whatever. In 6 minutes, they complete their pretest, and then you launch your lesson number two. That's where you present your lesson. For PPW programs that show the slides, you read the script, you walk them through this feedback. The next slide will talk a little bit more about that. You set goals. This is the action piece. This is very critical to change behavior. Our programs are all about changing behavior. You can increase awareness with a lot of different programs and materials and instruction, but our evidence-based programs are about changing behavior, about preventing substance use and improving and increasing protective healthy habits. So goal setting is essential to that, to initiate that behavior change. And then lastly, a post-test link. So you can actually collect pre-test and post-test survey data on how your single session or brief PPW program performed by implementing the test before and after the lesson or lessons. Very simply, online, a few minutes, and you have access to that data, and we share that data with you. A little bit more about that in just a minute. So that's the implementation phase. You implement it. You want to implement your program with fidelity. That means you want to implement it as it's designed. It's easier to do that with our programs because they're a single session. You're much more likely to complete that within your 45-minute period than again a lengthy session because it's very hard to get in all those lessons within a school year. So that's implementation. Last whoops, I'm sorry, delivering the Prevention Plus Wellness lesson. I wanted to show you one slide on what constitutes a Prevention Plus Wellness program. 3 phases: screening, feedback, goal setting. Screening students, I should say, to get them to think about their health habits. That's a little bit different kind of screening than an expert screening, which is designed to identify levels of risk. But in our programs, you screen to let them think about their health habits. Are they getting physical activity? Are they using alcohol or e-cigarettes? Are they getting adequate sleep? And that's the first part of changing behavior, getting people to think about their behavior and becoming aware of it. Then you provide that feedback showing how the health behaviors promote you feeling and looking and performing better, and how substance use interferes. You integrate those messages and address sleep, exercise, nutrition, stress control, all within a whole health drug prevention lesson. And then lastly, again, you walk students to goal setting and contracting. They sign it, you co-sign it, they take it home, ask for parents to sign it or friends, and whatever the case is, because you want them to share their lessons, to increase that motivation for change, and to initiate that behavior process change process through goal setting for the first 7 days. And then we even include a calendar log for them to track their goal success. That's all implementation. Whether you implement PPW programs or other evidence-based programs, that will determine what's involved in that stage. But then the final phase we've added is final evaluation and follow-up. This is December. This is the end of the semester. This is where you wrap the program up in terms of implementation, and you collect that final data collection point, which is very, very important. Let's take a look at the steps. You want to administer your final end of semester post-test. We've just added this semester, very important. You want to follow up with your youth and reinforce those prevention messages. I think that's really important with any drug prevention program, but especially ours, because ours is it could be as little as a single session. So you want to follow up in some way to reinforce that process. And that includes getting them to continue to goal set. And then you want to, and then request from us a free data analysis. So let me go through these 3 steps with you. So we've added this final data collection. We've had the pre and the post test before, but we now have a pre and a post and a final end of the semester post test, because our pre and post before the lesson and immediately after the lesson measures risk and protective factors. And the end of semester post test allows you to measure for the first time, what happens after the program? In particular, how is your PPW program impacting substance use, and how is it impacting um, healthy behavior formation? So that's why it's absolutely critical. Now, if your organization collects the pre-test and the post-test and the follow post-test this semester, we're offering free data analysis for your organization. Now, we prefer and will give priorities to those that have a significant number of youth that have pre-tested, post-tested, and follow-up post-tested. So if you have a couple of hundred youth, we'll give those organizations priority because we think there's enough data there to actually see some possible outcomes. Remember, particularly when it comes to substance use, and you're talking about a small window of implementation, you're talking about one semester, you're talking about 4 months, something like that. There's not likely to see a whole lot of change, particularly in substance use habits, but nonetheless, if you've got high school kids and during that period it's possible to see some change, and particularly you can see some change in the health habits. So pre-test, post-test, end of semester post-test, critical to fidelity, critical to assessing how your programs impacted your youth in your setting. And so, we'll give you an analysis of that. And by the way, within our pre, post, and post test survey, online surveys, which we can send, by the way, there's a question there where the kids generate their own code number. It's anonymous, but what we'll do is we'll match the codes to the pre, to the post, and the follow up. So that also reduces the number of youth, because if let's say you had 200 kids, you were able to follow a post test, you'll have less than that, because once you start matching up the pre, post, and follow up post tests, because inevitably there'll be kids will make an error in their coding. And so we want to have kids take care in generating that code, and we'll match that up. So we could, if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to us at info@preventionpluswellness.com. Anyway, you want to collect your end of semester post test, and you want to do that before they go home for Christmas break or winter break, and then you want to follow up and reinforce. This can include a lot of different things. I mean, at a minimum, you want to remind teachers and coaches and counselors to give the youth some more goal plans, and make some more copies, give them more calendar logs, and encourage them to set weekly goals over the next 4 to 8 weeks. At a minimum, you can do that. We have a follow-up app, a follow-up goal setting app. We've got workbooks if you want to do more interactive exercises with the kids after you've implemented the PPW program, whatever the case is. For whatever evidence-based prevention program you implement, it's really important to implement pre-test and a post-test, especially an end of semester post-test, to get that to measure those behavior changes. And then again, with us, we'll be doing these free analysis for everyone this semester. And that's the fourth step. How about some best practices? Very quickly, avoid prime testing times. That's and because again, those pop up, you've got to work around those. You got to be flexible. That's the last item, and you got to work around the testing times. You got to have a plan B and a plan C, and use Red Ribbon Week, because again, I think you can implement at least a brief evidence-based program like PPW within Red Ribbon Week and really assess it. Do the pre-test, do the post-test, come back at the end of the semester with those kids and see what kind of an impact you've had. I guarantee you, you're much more likely to have an impact with that than just handing out and focusing on awareness. Awareness is important. Awareness of risks is important, but going beyond that, also important. So don't forget, request customized links from us. We have a new 6.0 pretest, immediate post-test, and end of semester post-test. Just email us at info at preventionpluswellness.com. So just to summarize, you can use this four-phase step-by-step guide to schedule and implement your drug prevention program this fall, whether it be implementing prevention plus wellness programs or other evidence-based programs. This could be a useful tool for you, and you will be receiving from me an email most likely today, and I'll post these slides and I'll post the recording for you so you can go back and review. So, questions and next steps. First of all, let me thank you again one more time for your ongoing dedication to youth prevention and wellness. It's an honor to be working with you. Now, the key thing now is how can you implement this in your setting? What do you need to do to address um, these four phases in your drug prevention planning? Think about that. Think about that deeply because that's very important. Now's the time to start that planning process. If we can help at Prevention Plus Wellness, let us know. Here's some links if you want us to help. Now, I see there's some Q&A, which is awesome. Well, no, I didn't see that. I see that's some chat space. So let me just see if there's any Q&A. To see if anybody asked any questions. I see that was the chat space. I apologize. Yes, there is one question. Let me see if I can have an answer. So it looks like Alexandria says, will the slides and recording be available after today's webinar? Yes, I'll post it on our website and I'll send you the link and you'll get that later today. So thanks for that question. Any other questions? Any other comments? What did you think about this four-phase process? Will it work for you? How will you use it? Does it not work? How will you adopt this four phases? Share in the Q&A. Share what you're doing so other people can learn from you. Or, I mean, if you want to, you can use chat. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chat, see if anybody said anything. There's some people just saying hi, which is always awesome. And not seeing any slides, but which is unfortunate. I'm not sure why, but I'll send you the link and you'll be able to access the slides. So let's see. I'm going to go to the bottom, see if anybody's sharing anything. People are saying thanks. Very beneficial. Thanks for the positive feedback. I love that. That's always great to know that we're on the right track with information. So once a month, we host a family enrichment night for parents and students to spend time together and communicate. That's awesome. So, I mean, at that time, you could actually, just to share with you some things that other providers have done around the country with our programs is they'll take the kids and they'll pull out the kids and implement prevention plus wellness, and then they'll also provide a prevention plus wellness program for the parents and then they put them back together so they can share. So you could actually do that in your setting if you wanted to. Let's see. Parents were also struggling to get them to participate due to coursework. Absolutely. I understand that. That's a constant struggle. They still have to some dinners and help their kids with, and we do raffle incentives. So yes, awesome ideas. Any incentives you can give the parents, any help you can give to them, definitely. Well, when you do the Prevention Plus Wellness program, if you do implement our programs and the kids do goal setting and they take it home, all the parents have to do, if anything, is to just look at their goal plan and co-sign it if the kid asks them to do that. And they could at least open up some communication about, prevention and wellness at home through the goal plan assignment. We have all of our local district middle schools and high schools in our area. We have in Missouri in our school. That's amazing. And you have the same strategies to increase students and parents recruitment. Do you have any strategies to increase student and parent recruitment? So what I said earlier was on our website, preventionpluswellness.com, under resources, we have a decision-making tool. which you can take to your principals or your vice principal or whoever's deciding to let you come into a classroom or come in after school. That's a tool that you can use to have some success with that. Take a look at it. It's only two questions, it's 2 pages, and it's really helpful because it asks the decision maker, what are the health problems that you want to deal with among your youth, and then how can we come help you deal with that during the school setting? And so, and it fits beautifully with the prevention plus wellness programs because it doesn't just address substance use, vaping and alcohol and marijuana, but it also addresses lack of physical activity, kids that don't have enough sleep, kids that aren't eating breakfast, kids that have stress. It's really, really a great strategy, that tool. And then we also have a parental consent forum under our resources. So take a look at that. Take a look at our resources on our website. So yes, everybody's going to get a copy of the slides. Everybody's going to get um, the recorded session. Let's see. Somebody else says. Lindy says, "Hi, Chudley. The program is working great in our district to reduce the number of suspensions." Oh, that's awesome to hear. Thank you for sharing that. And we use the program uh, as a nurse-led weekly after school detention education program for students that have violate policy related to tobacco, vaping, and other substances. So that's a great testimony. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's cool. I'm going to cut and paste that, um, Lindy, and share that with others. I think um, on our website and social media. Thank you. That's wonderful. Anything else? Anybody else have any other questions? I know we're just about out of time. So last chance, if you have a Q&A, if you have a chat comment, you'll be hearing back from me. No worries. Everybody will get a link to these. I'll post these slides. I'll post the recorded session online. And so remember, we have another webinar coming up in 2 weeks on a very brief one on best practices and evidence-based prevention, including PPW, and we're going to be planning regular um, webinars once or twice a month. So if you haven't already dropped in your email into our website, go to preventionpluswellness.com, drop in your name and email, and then you'll be notified of what's coming up. All right. Thank you, guys. You're awesome. Have a great day. God bless you all for what you do. Thank you. Bye bye.